What's up? It's your boy Stevie83 and I'm back with another react. You know what I'm saying? Today, I am reacting to shocking news. They just found Foolio's murderers found in their prison cell. Gone. They're gone. Sean Gathright and Rashad Murphy, both gone. Let's get into it today. These people crazy, man.
Foolio's killers have just been found dead in prison.
What? I can't even believe this. I've been keeping up with this case since it happened. I was even keeping up with it before the case. Like, I was tracking Foolio, doing some reactions to his stuff before I really started this channel that I'm on now. Like, I was really deep following this stuff. Like, I can't believe this. This is like unheard of. Not unheard of in prison, but it's unheard of, like, what's happening in this situation. Like, first they tracked him, sent him up top. Well, sent him down low, whatever, wherever he went, we don't know for sure, but they sent Foolio up, and now they gone. That is how it is in prison. For all you youngsters out there that are coming up, think you tough, think you bulled up, you know, bully gang, whatever. This is what happens to real men in jail. What do you think is going to happen to some teenage kid, some kids that are green, whatever, you know? It's like Sean Gathright and him. Rashad Murphy seemed like he did a little more time in jail. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know his history. But I'm sure he's been locked up before. If not, they both green to the prison system. That's how it works. And I think they got handed down a big sentence that they might not have been able to handle. Like Sean Gathright, 18, 19 years old, and get handed a life sentence without the possibility of parole or even the death penalty. I don't know what was the actual sentence yet, but we're going to find out. We're going to get into it today.
After they were sentenced. And now all fingers are pointing at law enforcement because of how the case was handled.
I haven't seen more thorough policing than that. That almost leads me to believe that maybe the feds lent a hand, or some assets or resources, or maybe that they got a bigger case.
The case moved too fast, and now with two suspects silenced for good,
what could be bigger than this?
Question: who wanted them gone and why? Let's break it down. The Foolio Five and the Florida bloodbath.
And can anybody tell me, in the Florida prison system, see, I've been locked up in Maryland, I've been locked up West Virginia, I've been locked up Cincinnati, I've been locked up in Ohio. Well, Cincinnati is Ohio, but I've been locked up a couple different places in Ohio, never in Florida. I want to know, does 6 Block really, is their car really that big in Florida? Is somebody let me know. One of you youngsters out there that watch the channel, let me know. Was Foolio and them, was 6 Block really that deep in the prison? Like, I never heard of it being a prison gang. Normally you got, around here, you go into prison, you got 2, 3 options maybe. You might check in DMI, you might check in BGF, Black Gorilla Family, Dead Men Incorporated, or you might stay with the Woods. See, the Woods ain't doing nothing in jail over here.
They thought it was over. Just days after being sentenced for the ruthless, premeditated murder of Jacksonville rapper Julio Foolio, 2 of his alleged killers were found dead in prison. And here's the kicker. Rumors are swirling that this wasn't random prison violence. This was payback, calculated, carried out, and potentially even covered up by those who were supposed to keep them alive for trial. What's worse, the most shocking part of this story hasn't even come out yet, but we'll get to that. Because if you think Foolio's death was tragic, if you think this is just another case of gang beef gone wrong, you're missing the entire point. This was never about just one rapper. It was about revenge. It was about power. And it was about a justice system that seems more like a stage for gladiator games.
And it's about what we're growing up in. What's happening in our streets today. Like, you know what I mean?
A place for law and order. So how did it all spiral so violently and so quickly? How did 5 people, including a pregnant woman, end up implicated in a murder that shocked the state of Florida, only to see 2 of them taken out?
There he is. Them 2 right there, they just showed
this disaster. Julio Foolio, born Charles Jones, was no stranger to controversy. His name was all over diss tracks, rivalries, and street rumors, but to his fans, he was more than a provocateur. He was a survivor of multiple attempts on his life, until June 23rd, when the final chapter was written in the...
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this. Lyrically, Foolio was one of the best rappers to come out of Jacksonville in a long time. Lyrically.
parking lot of a Tampa hotel, the Home 2 Suites near USF, with 31 bullets. And as wild as that sounds, it wasn't even the beginning. Police say 5
That looked like
individuals
DJ
drove
Vlad.
hours, 3 hours from Jacksonville to Tampa, with the specific intent to kill Foolio, tracking his every movement as he club hopped for his birthday celebration. The suspects, 30-year-old Rashad Murphy, 27-year-old David
Rashad
Murphy,
gone now.
21-year-old Isaiah Chance, 21-year-old Elisa Andrews, yes, the pregnant woman, and 18-year-old Sean Gathright.
He gone.
These weren't career hitmen. These were kids.
Now, I'm almost willing to say that this one right here, Rashad Murphy, he was almost, I bet he was almost like a Suey. Like, I feel like he's done, let's like run through his thing a little bit. He was trying to represent himself. He fired his lawyer, but when they told him, like, look, you can't represent yourself. This is a death penalty case. You cannot represent yourself. They're trying to tell him that. He fired his lawyer. It's a last-ditch effort. He was pulling out all the stops to try to get a little bit of leniency in this case. But the judge and the prosecutor wasn't having it. So I feel like he might have been a Suey just on the fact that he pulled out all shots. They still handed me life without. Probably going to see the death penalty come around here and there. But he done pulled out all shots. Now, this is the last one. They sentenced him life without parole coming up maybe. And he just couldn't take it. I don't think he could just take it. So he might have did a Suey. But I think little Gathright now, that might have been in. Now, he's a little firecracker like. This little boy is not right. He even kept cartridges from when they rained on Foolio a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. He kept the one. Cartridges. What is this boy doing?
Bruh.
And I feel like he might have been in a gang, like trying to get jumped in or whatever, and they might have cut him up. Whatever. I don't know, but this one right here seemed like a Suey to
Mostly
me.
under 25, with more ambition than brains. And once the shooting happened, the evidence came in fast. Surveillance footage? Check. Phone logs? Check. Ring camera footage of the suspects packing weapons and planning the hit like it was a music video? Check. This case had more.
He ain't
receipts
dancing
than
like that
the
now,
IRS
though, is
found.
he?
According to Tampa police, the shooters waited across the street from the hotel as Foolio pulled in. They didn't rush. They
We
didn't
know
hesitate.
this.
They executed. And when that execution was over, Foolio was gone, dead in the front passenger seat of a vehicle riddled with rifle and handgun fire. And guess what happened next? They celebrated.
And then Davion's done has texted his thirst has been quenched. And let's go pop a bottle of Don Julio when we get back to Jacksonville.
Now, he said that none of that could have waited till we got back to Jacksonville. You couldn't have said, hey, man, my thirst has been quenched. Let's pop this Julio, man. You couldn't say that when we got back to Jacksonville. You had to wait and text it to me on a phone that's satellite tracked. Come on,
So it's like,
bro.
I don't know, bro. If you're looking at candidates to fry, like that would be the one, right? Like if you wanted to, okay, we have a death penalty.
And this
who
dude here,
deserves
man,
it
I
would be
can't-
them.
Drill rapper scorecard.
I can't
And
stand
now,
Tell
two of
Ninety-
them are dead
Tell 90
before
Jake.
they could even make it to a full sentencing phase. This wasn't a trial. This was a ticking clock. The female suspect, Elisa Andrews, didn't even try to run. She cooperated almost immediately and gave authorities damning information.
And we
that
knew
showed
she
her phone
would.
had tracked Foolio's location through every party and club he went to that night. She didn't pull the trigger, but police say she helped make the shot possible.
We knew she would.
Last time we did an interview,
Anybody that has been convicted of a violent crime or been convicted of any gang affiliation or anything like that, you know that ain't no women gonna hold you down. You know that. You trusted a woman. You let her into the fold. Now it's your fault. You got to stand what came behind that. And I feel that 100%. Like if I got my homeboys and I got my family around me, like I'm just not no goofy. If I'm doing something, I'm doing it solo, man. I'm not no goofy. I'm not bringing 4 or 5 people with me because I got to keep up after all my mistakes. How am I going to keep up with all this shit too? And they 2 more mouths to tell on me. So what they should have did, Gathright should have did, was when they were all done, and been the only one left anyway.
Foolio had just gotten killed. Now, most of the people are caught. The girl that gave their location. She's cooperating.
Let that sink in. A 21-year-old pregnant woman is now looking at life in prison, or worse, because she was texting locations for her boyfriend and his crew. And guess what she's probably going to do? She's going to flip. According to court filings, she's the only one who didn't waive her right to a speedy trial, which many legal analysts believe is a strategy to secure a plea deal and save herself from a life sentence or the needle. Even Boozy chimed in, saying the cops involved were laughing about Foolio's death and the whole situation stank of bias and injustice. But it gets worse. Rashad Murphy, one of the alleged triggermen, reportedly requested to represent himself in court in a death penalty case. This isn't traffic court.
Look, he just look goofy, don't he? Don't he just look stupid? And then that dumbass mustache you got on make him look even goofier. I wouldn't even put that mustache on.
This is you might die by lethal injection court. And still, he thought he could outsmart the legal system. Spoiler alert, he couldn't. As Fox 13 reported, Rashad Murphy is now one of the 2 suspects confirmed dead in prison under unclear circumstances. Was it prison justice? Was it retaliation? Was it tied to Foolio's gang affiliation? Or was
Nah, it was tied to that. You know he's going to live. And like, now, prison, unless you're in there a gladiator and you're sword fighting every night, you are going to get tired of this place.
Something inside the system. The Florida Department of Corrections isn't exactly known for transparency. Lowell Correctional Institution, where Elisa may serve time, has long been under scrutiny for violence among inmates, assaults from staff, and a culture of fear.
She's gonna have her baby in jail. That baby will be taken away from her, and she'll have to
tell
serve the rest of
90
her time. And she's going to do her very best to snitch as hard as possible to minimize her time in that jail so she can get with her newborn baby. Which
Tell 90
I'm
Jake.
I'm gonna be honest too. Like, she's most likely still gonna get time. They're gonna send her to Lowell CI, and Lowell CI is a f***ed up spot. Like, you got getting bucked in there, so it's like you're like a famous rat.
As for the shooters, they were sent to Florida State Prison, where past scandals include guards being charged with murder, inmates dying under suspicious circumstances, and cover-ups that would make a net.
So in Florida, I take it, soon as you get sentenced to prison time, they automatically same day or next day get you on up out of there. Like, it ain't like that up here.
Docu-series look tame.
You gotta wait a while.
The system eats its own. And that's
even
why
you get sentenced, you might sit into the county jail another year before you get sent up.
Predictable. Within days of sentencing, both Rashad and Sean Gathright were pronounced dead. Unconfirmed reports suggest one was killed during an altercation with another inmate, a hit arranged through gang
that's
connections.
Gathright.
The other's cause of death still under investigation. And suddenly, the
He
case
got
that
caught
was
found in
airtight
his
is
cell.
unraveling
He
in a
probably did
different
that
direction.
himself.
2 key suspects are gone. Elisa's flipping. Davian Murphy, the final suspect captured, was caught because he couldn't stay off social media.
And he don't mind jail. See, look at this man. He don't mind jail. So he's going to lay up in there the rest of his life and not do shit. You know what I mean? He might see him in 10 years. This might be bigger, like Big X the Plug big. You feel me?
He ain't going nowhere. And guess what? He didn't.
That's his final. He's a dumb mother, because he was going on one of those like little chat things online, talking, saying I'm gonna pull up, I'm gonna do this, and the whole time he was in Jacksonville. Like, he never left.
The man plotted an assassination, committed murder.
That's saying a lot about the police department down there. JSO, they let that man stay on the bricks for a whole year. Come on, man. That's saying a lot. Like, I know you can stay inside and not never go outside, but come on, man. A year, 365 days. Come on,
cops
bro.
would look first. They called them the Foolio Five. Now it's down.
If the Foolio Five done wrecked and came down on that, I'm not stopping till I find him. If I was on that side of the law, you know, if I was a square and I became a cop, I wouldn't be resting until I found that man. You know what I mean?
And there's blood on multiple vehicles. Surveillance footage, plate readers, and even Cash App transactions were used to track down everyone involved. One of the shooters allegedly used a Cash App card to book the hotel. Another suspect was seen literally loading AK-style rifles into a car, caught in crystal clear footage thanks to Tesla's built-in camera and Ring doorbell surveillance.
You got the Teslas that are acting like sentries with 360 camera. Yeah. It's the clearest camera ever, 4K.
This was a digital.
Listen, if you driving a Tesla and you're on the wrong side of the law, get a different car.
Crime scene from start
That
to
bitch
finish.
gonna
They
tell
didn't
on
just
you.
get caught. They left a breadcrumb trail of stupidity that prosecutors are now feasting on. But why does that matter? Because when inmates like Rashad and Sean died behind bars, the prison system refused to give a straight answer. At first, it was chalked up to inmate violence, but anonymous insiders suggest otherwise. That word had spread in the yard, that Foolio's connections ran deeper than just music, that people inside the prison knew exactly who the shooters were and decided to handle it the old-fashioned way. One story that surfaced anonymously claimed that Rashad was cornered in a hallway, assaulted brutally, and left without aid for hours. Another suggests Sean was taken out in his sleep. These are unconfirmed, but if even part of that is true,
In
the
his
bigger
sleep?
story isn't just that
They give him a
dead,
blanket
it's who
party?
let it happen. Because
Huh?
if the Florida Department of Corrections has a problem with turning a blind eye, this isn't just a story about gang wars. It's a story about
It is.
state-sanctioned revenge. Just listen to what 1090 Jake said about the
Tell
Florida
90
prison
Jake.
And low CI is a f***ed up spot. Like, you got getting bucked in there. So it's like,
That's a girls' unit, man. Shut
like
up.
a
Why do you
famous
keep talking
rapper.
about? How you know about
you know
that?
what I mean? But
How's he know about the girls' unit? The fuck?
more so be going after the girls that be killing their own kids and like
Tell 90
crazy
Jake.
like that. But low CI, the Florida Department of Corrections doesn't f off. It's very much like,
I don't understand this, man. Don't he live in Florida? This man been in Florida. He been locked up in Florida. But he still talk like he ain't never left what is that? Long Island or Connecticut, wherever the fuck he's from?
it's war. You know what I mean? You got COs killing people, inmates killing people. So what they have to look forward to isn't anything nice. And then obviously if any of them get death, that's a whole nother different story.
This is not
Tell 90
hypothetical.
Jake.
This is a known pattern. Florida's correctional institutions are infamous for excessive force, inmate deaths, and widespread abuse. And whether you believe it or not, the evidence suggests this was
You
never
literally
just about
have to be a
justice. This was
gladiator.
about erasure. They didn't want a trial.
A
They
gladiator.
wanted silence, and they got it. Two
To
suspects
go any
silenced
there,
forever.
like
A system
Florida,
that kills before the vote.
Maryland,
By the time the
California.
second body hit the prison floor, no one was asking, how did this
A lot
happen?
of them got
They
some
were asking,
vicious
how did anyone not
places
see
in
this
there.
coming? Florida's correctional system is no stranger to scandal, but the speed and silence around the deaths of Rashad Murphy and Sean Gathright, two of the alleged killers of Foolio, has sparked whispers even in the halls of law enforcement. According to insiders, there were multiple signs, fights, isolation requests, written complaints.
Is Sean's
All the
daddy
time,
white
because
or
here's
is
the
his
truth
mama
nobody
white?
wants to admit. Some people wanted them dead, and in Florida State Prison, that can be arranged.
Damn,
Let's
I'd be
rewind.
damn if I'm
Rashad
wearing that
Murphy was
pink
charged
shirt.
with first-degree premeditated murder, the same as the others. But his case
I go straight to the damn laundromat and have him bleach that motherfucker.
quickly
What?
went off the rails. In court documents obtained by local media, Rashad requested to dismiss his attorney and represent himself. Multiple outlets reported that his behavior raised concerns. He wasn't just defiant, he was frustrated, complaining he couldn't communicate with counsel, that he was being treated as if he'd already been convicted.
I think this guy's nuts. I think that's why. I mean, he wants to defend himself, which is insane in a death penalty case. And then he actually has said that he may use an insanity defense, which also is insane in itself.
You cannot tell people that shit. Who are you going around telling that to, bro? Like, you don't need to tell anybody that. If that's your form of defense, you need to keep that to yourself. And you need to start acting a little bit more crazy than what you are. Walking through there with your papers in your hand and all that, ready with your glasses on, ready to defend your case. That's not the signs of a mentally handicapped man. Like, you got to wake up playing in your own poop. You got to start eating it. You got to start cutting on your, cutting your blankets up and stuff. You got to act a little bit crazy. This man acting like himself. He just walking through. Yeah, I got this paper. Yeah, he's doing some dumb stuff. He's doing a lot of idiotic stuff in the law system, in the court system. But none of it pleads insanity.
When the facts show otherwise, that these guys had meticulous planning and attempts to cover up crime. And when you have that, good luck in getting an insanity defense, because to sustain an insanity defense, you have to have an established medical condition and you have to not know the difference between right and wrong. But when you meticulously plan and
see that you gotta have an established mental condition, like you already gotta be in the state of Florida. It sounds like you already have to have it on paper that you're messed up. Like, it ain't like that around here. Like, if you go to jail, You act like you're crazy, they're gonna say you ain't gotta already have it on paper.
And try to cover up your tracks. That shows you knew the difference between right and wrong. It shows you knew what you did was illegal. And when you want to just try to put forward an insanity defense as your own lawyer, it doubles the level of difficulty.
And then came the letter. Rashad wrote to the judge claiming deputies at the jail were blocking his mail, restricting his calls, and preventing him from preparing a defense.
He wrote a letter to the judge saying they're blocking his mail. How'd the letter get to the judge? Because I know in court they don't just let you walk up and hand it to him. Somebody's got to read it. Somebody's got to look through it before the judge sees it. And you've had to mail it to him.
This wasn't a man posturing. This was a man unraveling.
It's all lies, I believe.
Desperation with reputation.
I mean, I don't even know if
that's
they...
a recipe for violence. We've seen
Like...
it before. Back in 2012, Darren Randall, a mentally ill inmate at Dade Correctional Institution, was boiled alive in a scalding shower by corrections officers. His skin literally peeling off in sheets.
What?
Nobody was charged for 4 years. In 2015, multiple guards at Franklin Correctional were found to be part of a white supremacist gang operating inside the prison. And in 2020, a whistleblower exposed that guards at supremacist gang...
That right there? That is not a Florida prison system. It don't look like it to me anyway. That looked like a Montana or something.
Inside the prison.
Oh, like a Montana or a West Virginia or something.
Correctional institution, the same facility where Elisa Andrews might be sent, were coercing
Mississippi
female inmates into degrading acts under threat of violence. So when two young black men, freshly charged with killing a famous rapper, end up dead within days of sentencing, that doesn't sound like
big
bad luck.
stupid
That
head
sounds like
mob.
pattern, especially considering the in politics. And trust, this war is deeper than rap. Let's talk about how it all came to a head that night in Tampa. Foolio was in town celebrating his
Well,
birthday.
we know all this, so we're going to get out of here for today. Just make sure you guys, man, if you're walking in this lane, you're not walking on the right side of the law. Just know these are the consequences you have to look forward to. Either in jail or gone up top for forever. We'll be back tomorrow with another one. Peace.